come across it now. That's sort of like the general consensus. So yeah, I haven't done your place yet. But I've looked on Instagram. It looks absolutely brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's great. I'll be honest, it's better than I expected it to be when I started doing it.
Hmm.
Um, I kind of started it purely because when I first started performing, a bunch of way more experienced people told me best way to get better is to MC. You get lots of stage time, that sort of thing. And then I was also like, it would be nice to not have to travel across London 2 hours to a gig. The cinema where we do Untitled is like 2 minutes from my door.
Nice.
So at first it was just like yeah, I just wanted it to be, your regular sort of, I guess, quite small bringer style open mic. That would just be a good regular place to get some stage time and try stuff out. But from our very first show, it was way busier than I expected. I think like we literally filled the room. We had like standing room only. It was like 60 odd people in there.
Okay.
And we've more or less managed to maintain that since. I think we probably average about 45, 50 now. And then it like fluctuates in some rows it does for everybody and that sort of thing.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
but to go for a year, they're crazy numbers.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm very thrilled with how it's gone. I'm very proud of it. Because and it's been really nice actually. It's become kind of a nice community event as well, where like a lot of the people, like local people that come regularly, I see around like Acton, I see around town now. And it's like, oh, that doesn't exist in London. But
Mm.
it's like, oh, I can chat to the person in the coffee shop because I know them. And yeah, and they're happy to come back. They're eager to come back, and people are also very eager to apply, which is also really nice. Um,
I mean, I'll do my little introduction bit. Hello, welcome to another episode of Sit Down for Stand Up. I mean, no, this is the second longest it's taken me to do it, but I love that. I've got with me Ryan, who not only is a great comedian, also hosts the night Untitled in Acton. So I would say,
Indeed.
how's it going, Ryan? But I think we've already passed that point.
Sorry, yeah, I just went. My coffee kicked in just at the right moment.
So Ryan, I'll go. So I mean, we already know how it's going. So what was like the main reason for you started to do a comedy night? And we'll just go for it again. How's it going for so far?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, like I say, the main reason literally was uh it looked like fun. Like the people I knew that ran gigs, it looked like fun. I'd done a few, especially when I was like first doing like a lot of the sort of bringers across London and that sort of thing at the start. I
Hmm.
had done enough gigs where I was like, these are not the kind of gigs that I want to be doing. They don't feel nice to be at. So I kind of wanted to, I guess, create the opposite in some ways. And then, yeah, I just wanted to have some stage time. I wanted to have a place where me and my friends could get together, tell jokes.
Hmm.
Um, if it could build into a kind of what it became, ideal. But if not, I was happy and content to just rock up every month and have a bit of stage time and go home, and that sort of thing.
Right,
But
so
yeah,
so tell me, how does the night sort of go there? Like, what's the layout? How many comedians? What do they get? What do you expect from a comedian who's performing at yours?
yeah, yeah. So it's just literally it's in like the sort of the cafe room of the cinema. It's not in like one of the screens or anything like that. So it's all very like it can be quite snug, shoulder to shoulder. There's a few sofas. It's very cozy. It's very nice, except for in summer when
COVID.
it's yeah, except for in summer when it's horrifically warm and we have fans blasting everywhere. But we do 10 comics every gig. We do it monthly. So 10 comics plus me emceeing. And then we split that into three sections as well. So we'll have two breaks so the cinema can get a good amount of money on the bar and that sort of thing because they just give us the room for free. Um, and yeah, I think generally I've started experimenting a bit recently with our with the split of how long our stage time is. But typically we'll do about six 5-minute spots,
Mhm.
two 7-minute spots, and then two 10-minute spots as well. That's fluctuated. I've been experimenting a bit recently with like trying mostly just because I want to be able to say yes to more people, and like especially people that are like pretty successful and I want to come down, I want to be able to say, yes, please come down, and not like, oh, okay, but in 4 months' time. Um, so
Mm.
I've played with it a little bit, but that's generally worked really well for us because it means I can. I find if you start in my opinion, I think if you start a night with like a 10, for example, like opener
Mhm.
at an open mic level, it can be a bit the energy can be a bit trickier to map. Whereas like if you start with like a five, and then a seven, you get a bit of like a snowball momentum for the night going. So that's been the intention. And then yeah, we do the gig. It's completely free. We do a bucket, but the bucket entirely goes to charity. It's like literally 100% of it goes to charity. We run the night as a competition, but not a competition necessarily for the acts. It's a competition for anyone in the room. Like the I, after a year, I should have this sort of speech and explanation down pat. But basically, the night isn't called Untitled. The night is Untitled, and then by the end of the night, people have submitted ideas throughout. I'll read out 3 suggestions for what we could rename that month's show, and the one that gets the biggest laugh or biggest reaction in general is what we sort of rebrand our social media to fit for that month until the next one.
That's cool. That's very different. And what do you sort of like expect from a comedian performing on the night?
I mean, it's a good question. I mean, ideally they would be funny, which is
Not
always
always the
good.
case.
Yeah. We're a particularly like quite a friendly environment, I would say. So we don't tend to go for acts that are particularly or like have a bit of like confrontation to their style, unless
Mm.
it's like very sort of calculated in their persona and that sort of thing, where people kind of get that it's a joke. Like because we get a whole range of people from like sort of young people in their 20s and their late teens up to like people in their 80s coming along. So it has to be not like as universally sort of that you can get on board with as possible is what we're after. And then other than that, really, it's just like um people that make my life easier as the person
Mhm.
doing all the logistics. So like people that fill in the form correctly to apply, people that are communicative and don't pull out.
Mhm.
Or if they do and they have legit reasons, they're very like, yeah, communicative and like helpful and like do the best version of that thing to make it the least annoying it can be. Um, yeah, I'd quite like to get I like to get a mix of sort of styles and energy, because for me, the thing I genuinely actually, and I didn't know I would love this, but the thing I really love is putting together the lineup and then like plotting and mapping the energy over the night, sort of from what I know of these people's styles. So like I know who's going to like inject a room with like loads of it buzz, who's got maybe a bit more of a deadpan style that can like sustain that, but isn't like doesn't turn the room into a big party necessarily. And then like even the people who are maybe less experienced, like the sweet spots to put them in, where like the room has the most goodwill, the most momentum and energy to help them and to carry them towards their like best possible performance. Yeah, I find that really fascinating trying to put that together. Um,
Have you sort of calculated a formula for that, or where you want? Obviously, like you wouldn't want 3 one-liner comics like bam, bam, bam.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I think not so much reforming, but I think there are definite trends where I think the and I think this is probably the same for other nights as well. I don't think this is revolutionary in any sense of the word. But like the more risque stuff works better later because people have had a
Mhm.
few drinks, the sun has gone down, and that makes sense after dark versus
Yeah.
like when it's still 8 o'clock, but it's summer, so the sun's up and you're like, what's going on? Um the Yeah, what I did at the start was I literally would put like a plus and an equals next to people's names, like based on the videos they would submit with, to sort of go, well, this person adds a lot of energy. They're very high energy. This person sustains it. This person might yeah, I would use a minus symbol, but not in the literal sense where they would like take energy away, but they might just like they might coast better or not coast. They might ride the momentum of the night better,
Yes.
and make that would benefit them more. I think alternative acts and musical acts always do really well for us in the middle section,
Okay.
like right before our second break. Like every time we've done that, it's gone really, really well because by that point people are like they've settled into stand up, they've settled into having a good night. So then you throw something like unexpected at them, and it's like, oh my god, it keeps going. Whoa! And that's always really fun to see that hit, especially with like if we get when we have like older members of the audience or that sort of thing who are just sort of here for the goodwill and to go along with the journey, seeing them like really respond to something they might not have necessarily like sought out is really, really fun. So yeah, I don't think there's necessarily a formula, but I think it's something I am conscious of when I'm booking for a month in terms of like trying to get a good spread of styles and that sort of thing. And then obviously like even simpler stuff like a spread of genders, a spread of like all sorts of backgrounds and that
a
sort of thing.
diverse bill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like making it as representative of the London comedy scene as I can is ideal.
And say, first, how do people go about applying for your place?
We just have a form.
Yeah.
It's always in our bio and Instagram. I'll do like a big announcement post whenever we open applications. I do tend to close it once we're done because we're only monthly and
Yeah.
it fills up very quick. And especially only having 10 slots a month, like it's not. And this is a absolute like first world problem that I'm very happy to have. But it is not uncommon for us to get like 200 applicants for
It's
one
mad,
month
though.
show.
Do you ask for a video link?
Yes,
So,
yeah,
okay, I love asking this question. So, let's say I'm just gonna use myself as a hypothetical.
yeah, yeah,
I apply and I send a video link of my 7 minute slot.
yeah.
You look at it, you love it. You say,
Of course.
I want you to come do the seven. Would you want me to do the 7 minutes I've sent you? Or do you just use it as a validation process?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be exactly what you applied with,
Hmm.
but not a big pivot is ideal. Like, because especially if I don't know you as a performer, then I'm taking that video as like this is the gist of who this performer is.
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily word for word, this is the set they're gonna do, but this is their style, this is their energy, this is their persona. Um, this is how uh I don't know how racy the jokes are. This is how edgy they are. This is how much they swear. Like all these kind of things, I think are generally consistent. Um,
I'm just laughing to myself a little bit because I've got in a couple of weeks, I've got the guy who used to play Tinky Winky, the
oh,
Teletubbies on it.
amazing.
I'm just laughing to myself that like imagine if he like turned up in like a Nazi outfit. Like, or did I see like did I see that one coming?
Or still Tinky Winky, but like with a backwards cap. And he's like Tinky Winky's fucking. He's edgy
Yeah,
now.
his rebellious shit.
Edge Lord Tinky Winky.
So yeah, genuinely like you use it as a validation if you don't know him, but you sort of like you want it to be along that same rift.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I've had people that turn up and do something very different to what they applied with, which is
Yeah.
still like decent and good, but it's not what I accounted for necessarily. And that can be it can be a roll of the dice of how well that goes, because it might be like uh what I thought they were going to do fits really well into this lineup. What they actually did disrupts it and is a little bit trickier to fit in. I would have maybe put them in a different slot, something like that. But like I also get that, especially at an open mic level, it's very rare for someone's set to be like locked in and just they're just going to do that exact thing. So yeah, I 100% expect like some evolution and deviation from it and like all new stuff in a similar vein. Yeah.
And what sort of level of experience do you want people to be between the five, the seven, and was it 10 at the end?
Yeah, 10.
So what sort of experience brackets would you want from them?
Um, I I don't know. I try and do a yeah a variety of experiences. Like the show we just did, we had people who have been like on TV who are have been going for years and really know their shit, and then we had someone it was their first gig ever, and they'd never done it before, but they were a friend of mine who wanted to, so I like helped them workshop some material, and then they did it, and it was great. So from and I don't think I necessarily go like you have to have done X number of gigs to do the 7 minute slot or 100 plus gigs to do the
Yeah.
10 necessarily. Because I can think of times when I've deviated from that.
Hmm.
I think the thing that I judge it on the most is the video. Um, and yeah, and like how well or just sort of how smooth the process of them applying is and how easy they make that. Um, yeah,
Okay.
I think for the tens, I would definitely prefer people that have done like a lot more shows, have like nice looking headshots, even that like I can, even if the person looking at the poster doesn't necessarily know who they are, they go, ah, this person seems legit. They know what they're doing. I would prefer that, but I wouldn't say anything is a barrier to entry on any of it. Other
And
than a degree of self-awareness of like, I prefer when people know what level they're at and are like, I'm early, I'm doing fives mostly, I'm going to apply for a five, not people that go, I'm early, I'm mostly doing fives, but I could do 10. So I'm only going to apply for 10 because that makes my job difficult.
yeah. Okay. And how many times would you say, how long would there have to be to get confident to go to a 10? I'll give you my experience. I've been gigging for 3 months,
Okay,
and I've been doing my opens, my fives, my gongs. They're all going well. This
nice.
Saturday, I've got to pay 10.
Sick.
And,
Amazing.
so I don't know if I'm ready for it, but how do you know you're ready for it?
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
So,
Um, I mean, it's a good question. I'm not even like I'm not at the level where I'm doing regular tens. I'm starting to do regular sevens more than I'm doing fives now,
yeah.
which is nice. Other than like when I'm emceeing and I just get all the stage time I want to have, within reason. So yeah, I don't know to be honest. I think it's yeah, like if you're someone I've seen and you have like a particularly strong seven and I know that you've done that consistently, but you want to do a 10, I would probably consider that for sure. Because that's like a
Mhm.
little bump up rather than like going from a five to a 10 where it's literally like double.
Yeah.
Um, and it's also, I think there's like going from like a five to a seven and then a seven to a 10 is, I think it's kind of similar in that it's like at that point you're segueing into other topics, you're mapping the sort of the energy of your set over a longer period of time, but only like an incrementally bit longer. I think some people, and I include myself in this, like my first 10 was just two fives that I just did back to back and I hastily wrote like a way to segue between them.
Mm.
Whereas now when if I was going to do it, it wouldn't be like, oh, here's a five that has a nice three-way sort of callback that ends on a nice third punch, and then another one of those. I would shuffle them in together and find a way of like mapping that callback throughout the whole 10. So the 10 feels cohesive rather than five. But I think that's easier to do in little jumps than it is to do in a big one. But
And
I also don't know.
how did you find the transition from doing, your fixed sets to emceeing, but not only emceeing a night you're running?
Yeah. Uh Stressful as fuck at first, I'll be honest. The first time I did it, I think I just did my five, and then I did some other jokes I'd specifically written, sort of scattered around. And by the end of it, I was like, this is going well enough that I think I could just talk. And that was nice. And since then, I think what I try and do now is I try and write stuff that can fit in that show.
Mhm.
Um, like it might be topical, so it's going to be burned the week after, or whatever. And it's good practice. But I'm a lot more comfortable just sort of going on stage and talking now,
Mm.
um, which has been really. It was kind of scary, but the more I've done it, the more I've loved it, and the more it's like the feedback I've gotten from doing it has been really positive because like I guess I've done a little bit of like improv in the past, so I guess maybe some of those whatever muscles I had for that kind of kick in. Um, but I think what's been really nice about it is when I go on and I'm just me and like watch back the footage and that sort of thing, I see uh this is going to sound very wanky. I see the sort of the purest version of my stage persona, not the version I think it is that I'm writing for. I see like who I just naturally become when I'm on stage with a microphone talking to people. And that's been really, really useful and really valuable. And then the other thing I do throughout the show is I've got like a clipboard with the lineup, but I've also intentionally left boxes on the side where like if I think of if I can write jokes that connect to their set, then
Mm.
I'll try some of those throughout, but I won't necessarily like bogart the momentum and like take it for myself. But it's really useful like writing practice, and it keeps me snappy and sharp and present in the room as well, which is really
It's
fun.
working out the muscle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's
Okay.
been really, yeah, it's been really fun. And it's also meant now when I'm doing more sevens, rather than writing a seven that I've too densely packed in and it's actually more like an eight, I I kind of do a sort of a six with a minute's worth of wiggle room for me to respond to the room and to talk to the room.
Mm.
And I'm more comfortable leaning on that skill set, I guess, if you want to
Mm.
call it that, or that side of myself, and being more present than I am like staying exactly on script. So it's definitely helped my own comedy, I would say. And
Okay.
people don't seem to hate it when I do it at
It's always a
Untitled.
plus,
So,
isn't it?
yeah,
If people don't hate you, that's the stuff you're doing. That's
I'm
always a pro.
yeah, I'm yet to be booed. There was a woman at our show the other week who was very lovely. She made a point of coming up to me and going, "You were the second best one." And I was like, I'll absolutely take that. That's a very nice compliment because there are 10 people way funnier than me on this bill. But I think because you acknowledge the audience more directly and talk with them, they feel like they're part of it more. So people respond to that.
And how would you say, one point your crowd work has evolved since doing it, and two, how would you like deal with Sorry, I love that cup. Just had to throw a
Sorry,
reminder.
yeah,
I
this is
just
a
noticed
weird
that.
one to put on
That's
camera.
brilliant. I love it. So, I lost my. How would you deal with crowd work, and then comma, doing your own night? How would you deal with like hecklers or a prickish audience member?
Yeah. Um, I mean, crowd work, I think I think the key that I found with crowd work, at least for me, is to kind of acknowledge the truth of what's happening.
Hmm.
Like I've seen people that will try and like they'll do the standard questions. What's your job? How do you guys know each other? Are you a couple? How did you meet? Oh, was it Hinge? What's Hinge? Blah blah blah. And they'll follow that avenue and just hope they find something. And if the person's giving them not much, then they'll just keep trying, or they'll just sort of stop. Whereas I think it's funnier and the room responds better if you kind of look up to everybody else and go, "This person's giving me absolutely nothing, are they?" And everyone kind of goes, "Oh yeah, we're not insane. That's what's happening." And you just sort of, to be honest, I think that was the key sort of lesson, I guess, that I took from emceeing at the start, where I think it switched a little bit for me, was my job isn't to necessarily be the funniest. My job is to turn this group of strangers that are all sitting shoulder to shoulder with each other into one group of people, if that makes sense, where they're all sort of on the same page. They're one collective uh sort of consciousness almost of like, yeah, we're all on the same page. We agree with what's happening. We agree with what's funny. So if something happens, let's acknowledge it, and that sort of thing. And the other tip I've gotten recently, which I've enjoyed doing, is to try and avoid the obvious questions if you're going to do crowd work. So don't like, you can ask people what their jobs are, but you don't necessarily have to stick with that. You can ask them something else, like, what do you do in your spare time? I think it's Marcus Dean who did BFF. I think this is a thing I kind of was inspired by him because he has a thing where he'll do small talk and then he'll pull out a little book of things that he calls medium talk, and they're pre-written questions that are really stupid, like which animal is sexiest, and like
Okay.
just give him like a weird prompt. And I kind of tried that in our February show where I had, those card games that you get for couples where it's like intimacy questions.
Oh yeah, I know, yeah, I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
I used those instead of crowd work for that month, and it was really funny, and it went really well because people just didn't expect that sort of question. Like,
Yeah.
oh, what's your partner's biggest red flag? What's like a thing they
Mm.
do that you find weirdly sexy? What's a cartoon character that you low key would have sex with? Um, Stuff like that. I think just keeps it feeling fresh. And then, sorry, that was a lot of talking. And then the
No,
other
that's
part of your
brilliant. I'm
question
loving
was
this. I'm
hecklers.
loving this. So,
No,
uh,
yeah.
yeah.
And then hecklers, um, I've not had to deal with all that many, to be honest. We've had a weirdly polite crowd. what we'll occasionally get is people that sort of chat through sets and they
Mm.
think we can't hear them, but we can. And I think that's where I see again sort of glimpses of who my persona actually is, kind of, which is this like I come across a bit more posh than I am, but I'm also clearly low status because I'm a fucking twig of a person. So if I sort of discipline someone, it comes out comedic, but there's the acknowledgement of that person because the whole room is agreeing with me, like shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Um, and then uh, yeah, then the few times I have had like proper heckles, I've either like responded and then tried to like go, yeah, no, I agree, and try and like trick them into thinking I'm yes-anding them and
Right.
carrying on,
Okay, cool, cool.
or just say stop, no,
Mm.
and then carry on. And people also kind of respond to that bluntness as well. But I don't know. I've not, thankfully, touch wood, been
Mm.
through the ringer that much in terms of heckles. I've not.
Okay.
Not
Okay, let's say hypothetically once again, I come onto your show. I'm doing a bit, and I am just the worst. I am just the most racist, homophobic prick in the world. The crowd are booing me, and
Yeah.
I'm sort of like, like fuck you, crowd. I'm just the worst person. How would you bring it back as
Uh,
the event holder, as the MC?
yeah. Uh, I guess. I mean, the
I'm
first
not,
thing
by
I
the
would
way.
do.
Just going to throw it out there.
No, no. I don't know. You
Oh,
sort of you sat back and settled into that vibe pretty quick.
did I show my swastika by accident? God, sorry.
Take off that hat. There's no hair there. You've shaved it. Um, yeah, I mean, I think the first thing I would do is, all right, I see it. Yeah, nice. I would hopefully not let it get to that point, and I would not book someone that does that in the first place,
Mm,
ideally. Um, but if someone pivoted in that direction, I think I would walk onto the stage. I would take their microphone off
you
them,
shut it down.
and yeah, and try and shut it down. Um, and I think it's tough to say what I would do. I think I would just sort of you would just have to acknowledge like something fucked up just happened. That's
Mm,
on me, my bad, guys. But we're not going to let it ruin our night, are we?
yeah,
Like, fuck that person. We're just going to carry on. We're going to have a good time the way we all want to do it. Like, yeah, acknowledge the truth of what just happened, and then try and redirect that energy, but also take ownership and accountability for it as the promoter, I guess. Like, that's on if that person gets on there on that stage and says something offensive to you in the audience, that's on me for giving them the stage time. Even if I didn't know they were going to do it, I have to take ownership that that's the area that I control. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a great answer. Yeah, perfect way to neutralize it because it always reminds me of because of most, 99% of the time it goes. I'm not saying it goes perfect, but I'm saying it goes genuinely the way harmless.
Yeah, yeah.
But it always reminds me of James Ancaster's set about his in a band his mate ran on in a dress every time, and it was like
Yeah.
unpredictable. So that's what I like to think of that question. Okay, so running Untitled for a year, what is the one of the highlights you've had, and what is the worst thing someone has done on stage?
Uh, I think um the highlight is probably the first one we did, just because it was like a full-on unexpected end-to-end like delight. It was just fantastic. It was like the whole night was a blur. Um, Everyone was having a great time. Like even like the stuff went wrong on that night as well. Like during one of my friends' sets, because it was quite warm, so we had the windows open. And during one of my friends' sets, some like the cinema we were in has apparently had like an ongoing feud with local teenagers. So these teenagers had put a bunch of Mentos in a bottle of Coke and just threw it through the window. Um, Thankfully, it didn't hit anybody. And I think in their head it was going to work like a sort of like a grenade where it would land and
Bomb.
explode. But all it did was just sort of like clunk and splooge on the ground a bit, and then we just were like, okay. And thankfully, no one was like hurt, and
Yeah.
it didn't hit anyone directly. But even with that, like the act that was on at the time dealt with it really well. The room just sort of made a joke about it, and then moved on, and then we checked everyone was okay, and it was fine. Um, so yeah, I think maybe the first one is our is my highlight, just because it was so unexpectedly good. Um, as for low points, I don't know, to be honest. Like we've had, I think the first time we had a show that was quite quiet audience wise, where we didn't get as many people in. That was like a bit of a personal low point because I think I, I guess I had like coasted a bit to that point. I just thought, oh, it'll keep happening the way it's been happening in the past
Mm.
5, 6 times. And it wasn't terrible. It was still a good show. The acts did well. Um, but we had at that point we'd stopped being a bringer as well. So it was like the fact that we had less actual audience and also less people in the room. I think it was a shift in energy that I think I struggled with.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I guess that would maybe be the low point, but I don't think no one's ever done anything horrible on stage, particularly. There's one, and it's not even a bad thing. Like a friend of mine did a gig with us, and I think it was like his second gig ever. Someone I did the comedy course with at Angel a long time ago, and then he had taken a break for medical reasons, and he came back, and he was like, I want to get back on the stage," and I was like, "Great, come along, you're very welcome." And he's a lovely chap, and he did his set, and it went pretty good. And it was like 5 minutes in, oh, he's still going. Okay. 6 minutes in, oh, okay, he's still going. I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna gently walk to the stage now.
Mm.
7 minutes in, he's still okay. I think it's time I gently escort him from the stage. And it was literally as my foot got onto the stage,
Mm.
he changed topic to, "So I've just found out I've got cancer." And I was like,
Off the stage.
this is such a moral conundrum for me because we all knew what I was about to do,
Mm.
but I can't be the guy that goes, uh, "Sorry about the cancer, bye." Like, what do I do
Yeah,
at this
no,
point? I was like, I
can't
genuinely
cut 'em
didn't.
off.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do, so I backed off a little bit just to let him get to the end of like whatever the joke he was about to tell was, because it was a joke. It wasn't like he was just trauma dumping all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Um, and it kept going a little bit, and then in the end, one of the other acts, who was a friend of mine, was just like, "Don't worry, Ryan, I'll be the bad guy," and he just walked on stage and manually lifted him up and carried him off the stage. And it was very funny. It was
Yeah.
friendly. It was a little bit like goofy and silly, because I think he knew he'd gone long, and it was fine. And he was very game for the sort of the silliness of it all. But that was a tricky thing to know what to do. But it was, yeah, ultimately fine.
Being a new comic, you can lose track of time. Have you not thought
Oh,
about doing like the
100%.
light in the back, something like that? Or
Yeah, yeah, I'll wave a light when everyone's got 1 minute.
yeah.
And then my girlfriend usually sits at the very back of the room, because we film the show, we film all the sets, and we give people videos when our camera works, like just for free, because it's also good promotion for us. And if it goes too long, I'll give her a nod to also do a light, because she's a bit more in their eye line, whereas I have to like peek in,
Yeah.
and make a bit of a show of it.
Yeah.
Um,
And on stage you can get tunnel vision sometimes.
yeah, 100%. Like
Right.
I that's why I'm like, I bear no ill will to my friend who did this, because it's like I've been there. My first five, I thought it was five, and then it was 6.5 minutes, and I still cut myself off. It's just the way it is.
I will mention the because I have very mixed feelings about bringer events. Like
Yeah,
being in
fair.
London, a lot of them. I believe comedy. I believe at the beginning to get bums on seats, popularity, absolutely fine. But events that have been going 5, 6, 7 years that are still bringer, I do. It can leave a bit of a sour taste, especially when some comedians don't have any friends.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
100%.
was your aspect of the bringer starting off absolutely fine? Was it more for the club itself to have revenue, or was it more for the members in the crowd?
Um, I think it was more to get bums on seats for us.
Mm.
But to be honest, it was also, I hadn't done very many gigs at that point that weren't bringers.
Mm.
So I hadn't like, it was just the thing that gigs are
Yeah.
at first.
Well, in
And I
London.
Yeah, exactly. And I hadn't gigged much outside of London. Um, and I even hadn't done enough gigs where I was really sick of bringers as a thing as well, and having to do it myself. So yeah, I think it was just a way to, if we have 10 acts, that way we have at least 20 people in the room, and that's good. And then I was nervous to stop it purely because I thought the first one was too good to be true. It's not going to happen again. Second one, okay, well, that was a fluke as well. It's not going to happen again. So I sort of phased it out where it was like, okay, now sevens aren't bringers. And then eventually it was like, okay, fives aren't bringers. And nowadays it's no spots of bringers, but ideally they're all stayers if there's space. If there's not space, then yeah, do your set and then just slink out in the break. Like don't do it during acts because you have to walk past the stage. But if you've got to go, if you're doubling up, whatever, absolutely fine.
Yeah, I with that one, I do 100% agree with. Bringers, I'm not a fan of, but I think every comedian, unless you are doubling up or there's a genuine situation,
Yeah,
I say, like I know a lot of it healthy is females in comedy late at night in London.
exactly.
Dude, I get it. I get 100, but I think it's etiquette. If you can stay, then stay. It is a respect thing, 100%. And yeah, that one I am 110% behind. And also, if you're a new comedian, watch other people, learn.
100%. And also, as you just say, comedians don't have that many friends. Good way to make friends is to sit at the table at the back with the other comics and chat and drink and trade war stories and that sort of shit.
Well, speaking of war stories, then let's re-humble you, Ryan.
Okay.
What is a joke you've done in your set that at the time you thought was, brilliant, best joke ever, and you look back now and you go, why the fuck did I think that was funny?
That's a good question.
Whilst you're thinking, I'm just going to admire your background.
Yeah, fair enough.
Is that a towel?
No, we've got like a skylight here, and
No,
there's
down,
no blind.
down, finger down, hand down,
Where am I
down.
going?
There, you point directly at it. Up, second shelf, across. What's that?
Oh, this is a Power Rangers thing.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm with you. Sorry, back in the room. I
Sorry.
told you.
No, you're fine. I wouldn't say it's a joke I'm proud of, but the things that are popping into my head, like I've tried twice at Untitled, not consciously because I want to make jokes about it, but I've tried two jokes that involve terrorism twice.
Cool.
Sorry,
not
tried each
terrorism
one.
cool, but yeah.
Yeah, tried each one once, and both went down like a ton of bricks. And I was like, okay, fair enough. That is not a thing I should like. They weren't particularly offensive jokes. I think I was like, I was doing a bit about being from the countryside and moving to London, and I was trying to be like, oh, we're both different, but we're the same. Like you guys have, I can't even remember what the joke was. It was like you guys have chicken shops. We have roast dinners. We both have food. Isn't that lovely? You guys have I can't remember what it was. And the last one was something like um, we have surfing and that sort of thing. And you guys have the constant threat of terrorism, but we both live exciting lives, or something like that. Was what I was trying to do, and it just didn't work at all. And then the second one I think was something similar, but it was like off the cuff, in response to something somebody said. And again, it wasn't offensive, but it was just because it was near enough to the topic that it put in people's brains, and I don't think our audience works for that or likes that particularly, or at least not enough of them. Like if you were in Central in like all the young media companies are around here, and like people that are online a lot and that respond to slightly edgier jokes, it might have worked. But in that room where it was like retirees and that sort of stuff as well, it was tough selling. But
it does as well. I've got my one terrorist joke, and it's not a terrorist.
We've all got one.
We've all got one. But mine's if I do a bad joke and it doesn't hit, I just go, "Oh, call me Israel because that just bombed." Like that is, do you know what I mean? And
I would imagine that gets a sort of like groan of acknowledgement where people are like, "We're not sure how to respond," because that's how people respond to anything Middle East related or Israel related.
But I think I'm punching up at Israel, and the fact that I've just acknowledged that that joke was crap. Like I think like it puts two sour things together. And it's worked. Every time I've used it, it's worked, and it sort of got me out of having a crap joke.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so it does. So okay, what would you say yourself personally again now has been your favourite time on stage, and what time did you personally bomb the hardest? Because we've all done it, we've all been there, we've all
Yeah.
bombed.
Um, I mean, I had one maybe 2 weeks ago at Top and Bottom, which is a really nice gig, not a bringer, lovely gig. They get a good amount of people in. Um, and I'd been like at work all day. I was like recording, and then I was like, ah, well, it's on my way home, so I'll commit to it. I'm exhausted, but I'll commit to it. And then
Mm.
like someone who I was working with, who I'd only just met that week properly, said that they were going to come along. So I was like, okay, a bit of pressure then. This person has to believe I'm funny. Um, and I got on stage, and I can't like I think I started doing my material, and then someone in the front row was still giggling about something that the MC had just said. So I talked to her, and then I just ended up doing 5 minutes that was just improvised crowd work. Um, and it was the funniest I've ever actually felt. I was like, I was literally like pure flow state. Like I was making callbacks and like riffing off of what she was giving me and that sort of thing. I didn't end up doing a single word of my material. I like talked about the MCs and what they were doing, and was like, I decided I was also an MC now because I'm talking to the audience. So I was like, yeah, I just went off on a big rant that got lots of love in the room. People came up to me afterwards and were like, "That was incredible! Like that was improvised. What the fuck?" Um, uh, and it was also one of the few gigs I didn't record, didn't
Sod's
get
law,
video
yeah.
of it. Yeah, so like it doesn't exist anywhere except in my head. But it was also like I really needed a gig like that because I'd done a few that were sort of middling of the road.
Mm.
And been trying, I've been building this 7 for like maybe 30, 40 gigs, and I was starting to get a bit sick of it. So it felt really good to just throw it away and
Mm.
just be like, oh no, I can be funny. That's nice. So that's probably a recent high point. Um, in terms of low points, I mean, I've had like gong show stuff where I've not gotten past the 2 minutes up the creek, or like gotten just past it and then got gonged off. Like I did the gong show at the end of last year with a previous 5 that I was like, I'm kind of done with this. Let's try
Mm.
it and then retire it until I need it again.
Mm.
And I like the night was going on, and I was like, they haven't. I don't know when I am in the lineup. So then in one of the breaks, I went up to the guys running it. I was like, when am I on? And they were like, you're not on the list, but you should. But like they acknowledged, but you should be. Oh shit, okay, we'll just chuck you on the end. So it was like the end of the night. Everyone was exhausted. I didn't want to do it. Like if he just said, "Oh, sorry, we'll get you on next time," I would have been happy with that
Yeah.
because it was not going to go well. I don't think anyone had beat the gong past the first section.
Mm.
Um, not like blaming the audience. It also just didn't deserve to do that. But that was one where I was like, I'd given up before I'd even gotten on the stage. And I
Yeah.
think everyone felt it. So I got like 2.5 minutes in, and then one card went up, and I was like, oh, sick. Let's just do them all, shall we?
I'm
And
gonna finger the audience. I just want to come off like.
yeah, but that wasn't too bad. I think one where I felt like I personally failed was I can't remember what gig it was. I think it was in Shoreditch, and it was in like a really busy room, but the room was busy with like another event,
Right.
and like we were kind of competing with him. It was really tricky, but the decision was made to crack on to go ahead.
Was it
And I had this,
Hoxton?
huh?
Hoxton?
Yes, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, yeah. But the decision was made to go ahead. The MC was like doing her absolute best, and she was getting some laughs, bringing some people in. The other acts did their best, and also had like the best success you could have had in that room.
Mm.
Again, I had pre-resigned myself to defeat. So I was like, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna do I'll do my 5, I'll just get it out quick, and I'll sit down. I won't do a 7. But then there's like a fork in the middle of that set where it's like I can do the 5 version, or I can tell this a different way and go into the 7. And I accidentally did the 7, like went into the 7, and I felt myself going, oh, for fuck's sake. And because I did that, I then started tripping over all my words, and it was just like nobody was laughing. I wasn't having a good time, and normally I'm like reasonably high energy, sort of at least being silly on the stage, and that was tough. And I was like, but again, I think that was me giving up rather than like the event not being solid.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so, what advice would you give to a new comedian just starting out?
Um, as a promoter sort of thing, because
Yeah, yeah, for promoter aspects.
okay. I think I would say I noticed the people that like our posts on Instagram and that sort of stuff. Even if I don't know them, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessively checking it all. I notice the people that sort of support
It's
the
the
night.
worst. It is the worst. You wait, you go to bed, you check your likes, your follows, you wake up, check your likes and followers, and
Yeah.
it is.
And like I would say responsiveness and like just sort of basic communication are incredibly valuable. Like if I email to confirm you for a lineup and I say reply with I'll be there and send me a picture to confirm your place, and they don't send a picture, it's just like it's like it's fine. I can just say, okay, send me a picture. But it's like it ruins all the sort of the efficiencies that I rely on to be able to operate, to be able to run the night as I want to around having like a full-time job. So that sort of stuff. I think if you are doing a gig for like the first time, like if you don't have a video, give a gist of what you think your vibe is, and also just admit that it's your first gig. Like
Yeah.
that's totally fine. It means I can't necessarily get you on straight away. I'll like wait until I've got something I can fit you in amongst. But I would prefer you just be honest about it. And then yeah, I think just general don't be a dick. I
General,
think
general life advice and that, just don't be.
yeah.
Most comedians aren't as well. 90,
No, 100%.
92% are nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a solid like there are some, but
Yeah.
most are
It's not
not.
99%, and it's not 90%. I've had solid 92%. Nice, normal people who are having a laugh. You know,
Yeah,
some
exactly.
take it, they want to make a career out of it. Some of them just enjoy going on the stage. Like,
Yeah. But I would yeah, I think I would add to that though, like whether you are actively like really pursuing it as a career, or whether you're just doing it because it's a fun hobby and you like to do it, um, treat the event you're going to and treat the like quote unquote job you have to do at it with a degree of seriousness. Like be be on it in terms of your timing, like be on it in terms of arriving at the correct time and checking in and talking to people.
get drunk.
And huh?
Don't get drunk.
Don't get drunk. Yeah, don't like obviously I know especially at the start people are sort of anxiously rehearsing in their own heads, like
Yeah.
even in, like before they go on. But once you've done that, be the best audience member you can be as well if you're sticking around, and that sort of thing. uh yeah, I think you can tell. I would rather have someone who's got like the best intentions and is making their best effort to contribute to the night absolutely bomb than I would have someone just half-ass it and not give a shit but do pretty well,
Yeah.
because I think the audience can sense the difference.
I'll tell you one thing I've noticed since I've been going to a lot more comedy clubs. I'm starting to laugh out loud a lot more. Like, but purposefully. If I find something funny, laugh out loud. Don't be like, that was
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Like, I felt quite on Saturday, there was this girl, she was absolutely smashing it, absolutely killing it. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna laugh out loud and I'm gonna clap. And then I clapped, and then I got the whole audience to clap as well. And I could see it how appreciative she was on stage, but
Yeah,
she had to
yeah.
stop because it was a gong show. She, do you know what I mean? She got about a 10-second round of applause. And I'm not saying that was because of me. I'm not Karen Vanity. She killed it on her own. But I
No, but
just thought,
your openness as an audience
yeah.
member led
And
to
it
it.
was the first time I've ever started a round of applause.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I thought that was, you know, yeah, just be part of it.
100%. Like I'm the same. Like, I think was it it was like an interview with James Acaster when he was promoting Heckler's Welcome, his like new special, where he was talking about how he would get annoyed at the audience for just sort of smiling and
Mm,
acknowledging the joke visually versus laughing. But it was also very much like, but that's what I do. I'm the problem.
mm,
Um, which is yeah, I'm the same thing. Like I'll sit there and I'll exhale, I'll smile, I'll maybe like bounce my head as if I'm laughing, but might not laugh,
mm,
or I used to be like that. Um, but also, yeah, I really like it at Untitled. The way we sort of set the room up is the stage is at the front of the room, the audience goes like all the way to the back
mm.
in a sort of angle, and then I'm off to the side, just in a chair with easy access to the stage. So most people can kind of see me if they choose to turn their head. So I kind of think of my, I kind of think of myself. I
Yeah.
quite like to be the sort of the cheerleader, like. So I make sure if I'm acknowledging a joke, I will laugh loud,
Mm.
um, and that sort of thing. And yeah, and once I think it's almost like once you get used to doing that again, it becomes more natural and you're not just like forcing it.
No.
It's more just like, oh, this is how I laugh when I'm in public now, and that's
Yeah.
great. And I'll acknowledge a joke by exhaling when I'm at home watching Netflix,
Mm.
because nobody laughs when they watch live at the Apollo on TV. They just kind of go, huh,
Mm.
at
And
most.
that is what's great about going to comedy clubs, that you will find yourself, being part of the event, even if you're not on stage, you are part of that moment, which is
That
beautiful as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean by turning the audience from a group of strangers into one audience. Like once that clicks into place, you're away because it just the laughter becomes more infectious, the emotion of the room and like the journey everyone's willing to go on becomes more like collective rather than like a couple of people laughing in a corner and everyone else just sort of going, check my phone now. That'll be pretty good.
Yeah, and arms crossed. Okay, so go on, Ryan, we'll leave it on your final note to the people. Why
Yeah.
should, okay, I am Joe Blogs in public. Why should I come to Untitled?
Why should you come to Untitled? Uh, you should come to Untitled because it's very, very friendly. I've done my absolute best to give it to steal all the good things that contribute to good nights around London and smush them all together in our own unique way. And I think it mostly works. And it's constantly evolving. We get very, very funny people all the time.
You've a
Um,
great lineup. I've looked at like some of your previous bills. You've had some
yeah,
great acts on there.
absolutely, yeah. We're very, very lucky with who we get to come down, and like I say, we get more applicants than we can put on. So I've got a waiting list that is very long, but I'm working my way through it. Um, yeah, we are not a bringer, which is nice. Ideally, please come and stay. But otherwise, it can be quite hard to get to Acton. So fair enough. Just tell me. Um, we usually touch wood get a decent audience. It's all for charity. Like I say, we do a bucket, but everything goes to charity. Literally, like I don't take any money from it at all. The cinema doesn't take any money from it at all. I'll post the evidence of how much was donated and goes onto the charity on Instagram to be like very open and accountable about all that and like where it's going and why. And people offer ideas for what those charities could be because it changes month to month. Um, it's a good time. It's genuinely is my favorite comedy gig in London. Not just because it's convenient to get to, and because I get to be a part of it every time, but because it's all the people I find funniest in one place every month, and that's awesome. Um, yeah, I think that's the gist of it. And we
When's the
play
next
good
one?
music in the breaks. That's
Nice
what I
one.
would say.
And when's the next one?
Next one is August the 8th. We are
Okay.
generally speaking the second Friday of every month.
Yeah.
Um, in September, I don't think I've even said this publicly. So, hey, wow, an exclusive. In September, because we'll be a year old, we're doing like a special 1 year showcase show. So, we're
Yeah.
going to get back a bunch of the acts from the previous year. Um, we are not going to be in Act One cinema for that. We'll still do our regular monthly show that's free there.
Mm,
But then on the 21st of September, we're going to be in Headliners Comedy Club in Chiswick, which is a
mm-hmm.
big proper venue with like 150 seats. It's ticketed, but still all for charity. And we're going to get lots of acts back to just celebrate 1 year of Untitled. And at some point, I should announce that and make posters and videos and that sort of stuff to promote it. That will go on my to-do list straight after this.
No, that's amazing. And everyone watching, if you look on the description below, you'll see how to get a link to. If you're watching this on, we'll be on Instagram anyways. But if you watch this on YouTube or any of the social media on any of the podcast platforms, it'll be linked in the descriptions, and as well as the charity. Also, if you can't make it but you still want to help the cause, do it, guys. Okay. So,
Absolutely.
Ryan, brother, absolutely thank you for coming on. I thoroughly enjoyed this. And
yeah, man, thank you.
It sounds like you're hosting an absolutely smashing night with a top bill. And people come down and give it a watch.
Absolutely. Yes, please do. And yeah, come along yourself sometime.
I will, Ryan. Awesome. Cheers, brother, man. Appreciate this one.
Thanks very much.